The EarSauce podcast.
Manny, why are you always so late to join these recordings? So I don't understand. Why are you always late?
Well, I was cooking, mate. What do you want me to do?
Cooking, you always be cooking. I know you're like a big chef out here.
Yeah, I was making spag bowl with a red wine sauce.
That is not what I was
With a red wine. Oh my days, a red wine sauce.
Wine sauce. Yeah, it's always with red wine. Anyway, that's nothing new.
You know, you just put in Domio. Don't even lie.
Just open the door, had a little.
Domio tastes disgusting, bro.
In it, but if you're gonna use any ready-made sauce, use Lloyd Grossman.
Domio,
big up Lloyd Grossman.
Lloyd Grossman sauce.
Lloyd Grossman's alright, but I think Domio is actually better than Lloyd Grossman. But what one that's really good?
But Ragu's taste buds.
Ragu's actually sick.
That's bad.
I'm sorry. I always make my sauce from scratch. I can't buy the jar.
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
And this is why Afi is hosting Come Dine With Me, and she's hosting 1, night 2, night 3, and she's hosting night 4. And then we're going to score her out of a possible 10. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward
Challenge accepted. Anyway.
Right, I'm not paying either, so you make sure you supply all that meat.
When do you ever pay on Come Dine With Me? Do you know what though? When it gets £100, when it gets £100, spoiler alert, it can't be Afia.
She cooks for 4 days, for 4 nights, think of £100.
Yeah, but spoiler alert, she can't win.
Why are you so against me today? Like, what have I done?
I'm not against you. I'm just waiting for this food.
He just set for you today. That's how it is.
Nah. Dun, 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 dun.
All right. Anyway, let's get this popping.
Cool.
Welcome to the EarSauce podcast, and I'm your host. No, I'm joking.
Right, so this week we have had 4 juicy albums to...
Oh my god! Honestly, I'm gonna just put out there now, like to set expectations early. This may be the worst week of music that we've had since we started the podcast.
Terrible.
It's actually just been uninspiring, and there's nothing that I've listened to that's really got my juices flowing, or as Ollie would say, that's popped my socks off. It just hasn't happened.
It's going to be an interesting one. I feel like there's going to be a lot of arguments around the scores, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck in.
Well, then you better get stuck in, then, innit?
Wait,
to be fair,
someone dropped One Love in the background. Is that me?
Yeah, I know that.
You know what? I'm on my iPad, and I forgot to turn the sound down, so yeah, my bad.
It's all right.
So I feel like we should start with DJ Scheme. And as Afia has a big size, she can speak first.
Oh my God, what can I say? I mean, there were so many times when I just wanted to DNF, like, do not finish, like, did not. I could not delete. It just... I don't know, it was uncomfortable to listen to. That's how bad it was for me. It made my skin itch a little bit.
You felt pain.
I felt pain. I really did. I did not
Clearly
like
connected
it.
Then. Glad it connected for you. You felt it in your soul. You felt that pain come out.
But in a really bad way.
I'm just going to point out, also, guys, I'm actually watching a United match right now whilst we're recording this pod. And United are getting tucked. It's 12 minutes have gone by and it's 2-0. I don't know what's going on, but don't be surprised if I just go silent for the rest. Don't be surprised if I just go silent and just like leave the podcast recording at some point. But yeah,
you just hear my phones just fling across the floor.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna hear, and that'll be the end of it. But like I was saying, DJ Scheme, right? So you felt in your soul, Earth, and I don't know, what was it about the album that you didn't like?
I don't know, because I've blocked out most of it now. So
wow.
I accept that I did not like it. I mean, there were some points where I was like, okay, maybe I can catch a vibe here. And then literally like 10 seconds later, I was like, no, all right, goodbye. And then I just skipped to the next tune and the same thing, repeat. So I think I've blocked it out.
So you didn't like any song at all?
Not really. I'm sorry, DJ Scheme. Because I feel like I'm being harsh, but that's really how I felt.
I'll go
Fair enough.
next. There was way too many Lils on this album. Too many Lils. Lil Mozzie. Who else is there? Lil Yachty.
Lil Keith.
Lil Keith. Oh my gosh. Like
Lil Gnar.
Lil, yeah. Lil Gnar. Lil Gnar. I couldn't really grasp the concept of this album, really. It just kind of felt like a collection of B-sides, no real main singles. I never ever want to hear Lil Yachty freestyle again. Like, I think it was track 12, How You Feel? Oh my gosh, that's probably the worst freestyle I've ever heard in my life. It was so painful. On a positive note, I did like the track Baby with Ian Dior. Outside of that, yeah, there's not really much to say. It's a hip-hop album. Yeah, new hip-hop album, modern hip-hop. That's about it, really. So if I was to say my shout-out song, it's just Baby.
Okay.
How did that one go again?
Don't remember.
Nah, I think that's the
Baby.
Are you a believer, Manny? Are you a believer? So let me just jump in real quick. So for me, this album was a bit of a mixed bag. So you have one trash tune followed by at least until track 8, you'd have a crap track, sick track, crap track, sick track, and it just kept on going that way. So Homesick is the intro, and that was kind of weak. It's Skrillex and Zakari. Not a fan of either of them. But then Trust Nobody with Joey Badass, that was flames, and I'm a big Joey Badass fan, so that was a sick track. And then track 3, we won't talk about that. In fact, track 4 is crap as well. The track with Ty Dolla $ign was pretty decent, and then straight after that, the track with Corday was really good, mainly because of Corday. And then Splurging was rubbish, and then Baby was good. And then after that, the album just nosedives. So for me, it was a real mixed bag. I did start to get really bored, and at the point where How You Feel came on, that freestyle Manny spoke about, at that point I just wanted to drive into a wall and just let it end. It got really bad towards the end, but
You know what?
the start was kind of strong, I guess.
I'm just looking.
Just a little bit.
I'm just looking back, and I didn't even. I think I also dropped off around the same time. I didn't make it to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I made it to the end.
I'm going to come with some more positive.
Oh, sorry. I mean, you know How You Feel.
Oh yeah.
I didn't make it past there.
I think I accidentally skipped it in my car.
Did you? Oh.
But it was crap.
You guys are on a complete downer with this one. To be honest with you, for me, I didn't think it was a great album, but I didn't think it was completely doo-doo either. I feel like it had a really strong start. I liked the first 2 tracks I liked, and then after that I felt like it did kind of go downhill a little bit. But I felt like Ty Dolla $ign song, which is Bustin' Out, and the track 6 with Corday, really good songs. After that point, it's like it just becomes very meh. I don't think it was completely shit. I just think it was a case of it was like Manny said, it was like a collection of B-sides from that point. So B-side tracks can be quite good, just that they're not that same sort of strength or quality as a single normally. So yeah, for me, I thought that the album was meh for the most part, but there were some good tracks on there to enjoy, and they're mainly at the beginning of the album as well. So when Manny said also what was the point of the album, I think it was a little money grab for DJ Scheme. I don't think there was any real clear concept to it or anything like that. It's just a case of, I'm a DJ, I work with all these people, they're my friends, they've offered, or they said they're happy to make songs with me, that was it. There was nothing else to it. I don't see. There was no depth to it. There was no joined up story, like continuous story going on throughout the album. So nothing to write home about, that's for sure. But I don't think it was completely nonsense doo-doo either. So yeah, that's my view.
Love the energy there. Love the energy there.
There was no energy. We probably should have picked a better album to start with, because honestly, that's an energy sapping album to go for the first one. To be fair, but
to be honest,
like I said, this week is really crap for releases.
I feel like
let's
I think
go
that was going
to
to be a quick
Rico
review.
Nasty next.
Wait. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's rate it. Let's rate it, man.
2 years.
Agreed.
I don't even want it from me, man.
Yeah, I'm giving it 1.
So,
what's the standout track though?
Do you know what?
Trust Nobody.
Because I couldn't even remember where I stopped listening exactly. I'm going to say How You Feel, because that's where I think I stopped.
I don't even know what the track was, because there was like about 6 tracks on the album out of
How
17.
You Feel has to be the worst track.
That's exactly right.
So is that your standout track?
It stands out for being so shit.
It exemplifies.
I don't think we've had that one before, but
I like how you twisted that. I'm going to use that later on in this pod.
Cool. All right. So yeah, 2 years. I don't know. I expect to come back for the standout song on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rico Nasty. What's the Rico Nasty album called? Hold on, 1 second. Did we even say what the DJ Scheme album was called? It's
Family, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, Rico Nasty, she released an album called
Nightmare Vacation.
She's an interesting character, actually. I like her energy, but anyway, who wants to kick off with this one?
I'm gonna kick off because I hated this album with a vengeance. So I'll start with the positives. She actually had a unique sound on quite a lot of the tracks. Like there was kind of like a rock hip hop vibe going on a couple of the tracks, and she seemed quite capable at switching up her flow and at times delivering good lyrics. It felt kind of original at times. But for me, that's where the praises end. And she's like a female version of Meek Mill without the content.
She's really
because she just shouts.
Female. She's not the female.
Nah, she just shouts. Now you know how Meek Mill just shouts at you.
Nothing like me.
She does the same. No, I'm just saying from a shouting perspective. Yeah, if these two were to have a shout off, I don't know who'd win.
I found her more like 6ix9ine or Trippie Redd.
Okay, yeah. Okay, 6ix9ine
like
makes more sense.
In fact, she had a track on here with Trippie Redd, and I thought that was funny because she was reminding me of a 6ix9ine or a Trippie Redd. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the funny thing was, she out Trippie Redd. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take back the Meek Mill claims because that's kind of disrespectful to me. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take it back in my chest, and I'm gonna say she's like a female version of 6ix9ine because that's exactly what you're getting with this album.
Now you're taking the piss now.
No, but like think about it. The album art has rainbows. 6ix9ine was always around rainbow colors. Like she shouts. She uses a lot of profanity. Like.
There's one rainbow in her album artwork, and I think it's because of her ties to the LGBTQ community.
I didn't know that.
I think her style is her own. However, it's not dissimilar to that kind of. I don't know. It's a new subgenre of music in my style in hip hop. In my opinion, what would you classify? Trippie Redd as like. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Because it's very sort of punkish sometimes, and
like rock rap.
Yeah,
it's emo rap. Like
it's emo rap, exactly. Yeah,
you have like Juice WRLD in that bracket.
She's like that, but with a touch. She's like that, but with she spliced it with some punk as well.
Yeah, and I rate her for like being original.
Yeah.
So that's like my praises are genuine. Like she was original. It's just not my kind of music, and I found this a really tough listen. Personally, like I don't like 6ix9ine. I don't like Trippie Redd. I don't like none of them sort of guys there, and where she kind of falls into that camp for me. It just wasn't for me. And I say that, but I don't have a lot of knowledge of that camp because I tried to avoid them. So from my perspective, that's how she fits in, but I might be wrong there. But with that being said, I couldn't stand this album. Well, there was 2 tracks that I actually liked, and that was No Debate and Own It. I thought they were quite cool. There were also the more relaxed songs on the album, like less screaming and a bunch of crap. So, yeah, this album killed my vibe. Absolutely killed my vibe.
Okay, it's putting me to sleep right now, so let's liven it up now. I like the album. Go on, you go.
No,
go.
Go.
Alright, I thought the album had mad energy, and I feel like I feel like a big part of how we're rating music right now is being affected by the pandemic because we're not absorbing the music how it was intended to be absorbed. And I think Manny said this before in the podcast, that some of these songs are not meant to be listened to whilst you're chilling at home or whilst you're just driving your car around. It's meant to be enjoyed in like a club atmosphere or some sort of atmosphere where you're getting hyped, either you're going out or whatever else. And also, I can say this music probably isn't meant to be enjoyed by, I don't want to be rude when I say this, but I mean like a heterosexual man. I think it's more of a woman's sort of music to listen to because the bars themselves, they don't speak from my perspective, right? However, I just really enjoyed the fact that this woman just expressing herself and chatting the most shit. And like sometimes you just have to chat shit, man. Like male rappers do it all the time. So there's no reason why women shouldn't do it too.
I totally hear that. I do hear that.
And yeah, so anyway, throughout the tracks, I thought most of them had like a strong, aggressive vibe to it. The beats are all really aggressive, strong bass lines, and like you did mention, she does shout like a fair amount. But I didn't feel like it was too much, but I don't know, that's on my only listened to like once or twice, I think. But my standout track though was Smack a Bitch, and I think that's the old song, or sorry, the Smack a Bitch remix, which makes the old song, which kind of blew up, but that song actually jokes. And yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's my upbeat review.
Matt, I don't know what it is, but I think today we're definitely on that polar opposite axis again. Nightmare Vacation by Rico Nasty, who is signed by Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records have female rappers like Cardi B, so they know how to handle a female rap album. I just felt they did this artist a disservice. Like, if this was like a mixtape, it would make sense, right? But I think this was was this like a debut album, if not like one that, anyway, it's an album for me, right? It just sounded very disjointed. There was no like synergy between the tracks. There were like tracks that I did like on the album. I liked Back and Forth with Amani. I liked Loser a little bit. Pussy Poppin' was a good track as well. And iPhone, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not saying it was completely crap, but I just felt like they could have done they could have done maybe a better job of ensuring that the quality was there in the album. Like the singles, as I mentioned, some of them are great, but there's no cohesion, and it's very obvious on this album, and it doesn't lead to like a great listening experience throughout it. That's just my thoughts on it. My standout track is Pussy Poppin'.
I bet it would be as well.
You misogynistic pigs.
You say this of me.
I thought it was incoherent and inconsistent and too much shouting. It just at times really got on my nerves, like if I'm being completely honest. However, However, I actually did appreciate, in the same way Ollie described, no, I think it was Matt actually, her individual style. It doesn't come across forced to me, even though she is quite similar. Like, we can draw parallels between her and some male counterparts, you know. I still think she's quite individual. I like that this is something different to cater to a different type of feeling, mood, woman. Do you know what I mean? Because like you guys were saying, I do think this is maybe, you know, it is something that's maybe more for women. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think she still has a bit more developing to do. I'm gonna keep my eye on her, see how her career develops and how her sound develops. But overall, I wasn't that impressed. So it was like it was good and bad. Do you know what I'm saying? And I like 6ix9ine. I don't like what he's done. Just say that. But the shouting just felt a bit too much with her flow. So yeah.
One thing I will one thing that was obvious to me as well. I don't know about you guys. I'm not jumping in, but I thought it was a good time to just chat. Like, there was a lack of introspection in this album as well. Like, What?
Excuse me, I think there was introspection. It was there in my standout tune, which was Back and Forth. I like that one. That was the only one I actually enjoyed on this.
But that's the only track where she's barely on it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they killed it.
He killed it.
Yeah, basically. It was
so
cool.
lost.
It was a good track, to be fair.
It was.
Wait, I actually meant that genuinely. Like, I didn't actually get to know her as a person on this album. Why are you guys laughing? What? What I'm saying? Oh, man.
All right, cool. Well,
no, you guys need to let me into the joke. I feel like I'm an outsider now.
Where's Matt?
Matt's crying.
Matt is fuming right now, man. Matt is fuming, but I'm here.
Man United holding bare L's today. They're getting bare body shots.
Yeah, it's actually mad. We just conceded the third goal, but it was ruled out. But anyway, yeah, guys.
No, the joke is that Matt always makes fun of me for wanting, what is it?
Introspective music.
Introspection.
Yeah. I don't know that, man. You knew that when you said it anyway, man.
I promise you, I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay, the next event to hear from you is In My Culture, and then you've hit the whole, you've done the whole bingo card.
You done trifecta.
Yeah, bingo.
Can we rate this now, guys, please?
I give it a 2. You lot didn't take my score for the first one, did you? Oh yes, you did.
You said a 1.
You did. You said it was a 1.
I'm giving this album a 1, man. It's not the same level as DJ Scheme. Not even close.
I'm gonna give this a 2, maybe a 3. It's another 2. It's a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 2 as well. It could have been a 1, but I'll give it a 2.
No, do you know what? I'm sorry.
This is so negative, man.
It wasn't good enough for a 2. I have to be consistent with myself as well. I give it a 1.
I honestly thought you'd be like a girl power vibe. I'm gonna know it's a 5, but
it was a vulgar album.
There's only one tune on there I'd listen to again, so 1.
So Manny's flipping between the 1 and the 2. Is it a solid 2 for you, Manny, or are you gonna go to a 1?
It's a 2, Manny, isn't it?
No, it's a 2 for sure. Because there was some track that I've actually replayed, whereas on the DJ Scheme one, there was no tracks I wanted to replay.
There you go.
Okay.
Did you guys have a standout song?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was. I need to pick up the track list again.
Mine was Pussy Poppin'.
Mine was No Debate.
See, look at that. We're all picking different songs.
Yeah,
You're telling me
exactly.
this album was shit. Come on. Anyway, yeah. What's the next one? Scribz?
No, let's go. I feel like Scribz is going to be like a nice one to end on, but Product of My Environment by Abra Cadabra.
I think we should end with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you want to end on a positive note?
Yes, I like that one.
Oh, controversial.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to Scribz.
Oh, okay.
Is it Scribz or is it what? Because
I think it's Scribz, isn't it? There was like an interlude, and it was like where the person was like, "Big up yourself, Scribz."
Yeah,
2 Grammys
in now.
SCR.
Who was that person?
I don't know.
Okay.
Unknown contributor A.
Unknown contributor. Okay, cool. So I don't mind kicking this one off. Listening to this album, I knew Ollie would like it. First thing Ollie says early in this podcast is, Scribz is my album of the week. Why did I know Ollie would like this? Because this guy is influenced heavily by Frank Ocean. Sounds like Travis Scott sometimes. Sounds like Kanye West sometimes. He sounds bare American, like 100%. But he's a songwriter, I believe. And I believe he writes for loads of artists out there as well. So it made perfect sense why this would be like Ollie's dream encompassed in the UK body. What was my personal thoughts on the album? I liked it, except it wasn't, let's say, as flavorful as I would like it to be. I don't think he's got the strongest voice, if I'm being honest. But lyrically, he's very talented. Production-wise, I think he's very skilled. Like, he showed a lot of variation on this. And I will follow him going forward. He's my favorite songs or shout songs. Probably Impress Me, Heady One, or I Lied, Part 1.
Good choices.
Was that? Did I hit the nail on the head, Ollie, or whilst you go next?
Yeah, you slightly did. I didn't know why you think I'd like it. Obviously, you said I'd tell you in the pod, but yeah, this album, you hit the nail on the head. It's getting me jumbling up my words. I like this album a lot. I'm annoyed I didn't listen to it last. I listened to it third to last, but I wish I ended off on this album because it was really good, man. It was so refreshing. It's just vibes, like you just put something on and you're just vibing. You're feeling it. You're in your element. It's got you in your bag. You're just there. Everything just washes away. You're feeling the album. You're feeling yourself. Not in that way, but it just hits that proverbial spot.
Really, you sound like you did rub one out whilst listening to this album.
I didn't rub one out, but you
sound like you rubbed one out, mate. Like, it sounds like you're having an orgasm whilst you're talking about it.
Dude, this album was wicked. It was wicked. Like, I liked it. Like, from start to finish, I liked the album. There wasn't a single skip. There wasn't a time I was thinking this guy needs to shut up. Vocally, he wasn't the best. And like Manny said, I felt like there was a bit of an identity crisis where like a lot of it wasn't until actually when Heady One came in, I was like, wow, is this guy UK based? And then like later on in the album, I kind of clocked it. But there was a heavy like American influence here. But I will say that this is the album I feel could do good in America as well. But yeah, I like this album a lot. And my standout track was East Side. That track was hard.
I've heard the Scribz earlier a few times, yeah. It's like it's one of those artists that you hear about all the time, but you don't necessarily hear their songs, if that makes sense. It's over a case of like they're collaborating or they're mentioned by other artists in passing. So I've heard of it a few times. And honestly, like
what I'd recommend is you look at the video for East Side. It's a really good video.
I will.
Yeah, I really like the visuals for East Side as well.
All right then, so we got to carry on. We've got to keep the pacing up, guys.
Yeah, man. That's how have you done?
All right, what was your stand-up song, Ollie?
East Side?
East Side.
All right, I'm going to go. So, anyway, I think I Lied was a great tune. East Side was cool. Did I enjoy it? Not really. I found it a bit boring at times. However, I could see it was a genuine passion project, and it felt a little bit like a letter to himself, if that makes sense. So, here's where I'm looking for the introspection. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. Wasn't that great. I expected more from, and the song I liked the most was 1.5 minutes long, so I don't know, I'm going to give it a 2.
Afi just flew right in there with the bait. We ain't got to that point yet. But
Yeah, she's like, it's not even worth suspense. Just don't waste your time with a 2.
Yeah, I'm not being like, it is what it is, but it's a 2.
We need to get a play on our name with the word negative in there. Like, negative Afi doesn't really work, so let's pick up some synonym. Anyway, let me
anti-Afi.
Apathetic Afia, that's a good one.
That just sounds like an organisation that's against me in general. Oh, it's based in Croydon too.
Anyway, let me get my say in now. Yeah, and he said, was actually a bit enlightening for me, where he said that he works with a lot of American artists by writing songs for them. That makes it make more sense for me. Anyway. My view is that I think that there's a talent there for sure, and I guess it's a case of he's probably spent so much time in the States or something that it's heavily influenced his work, because when I was listening to the songs, I was like, this is an American artist. And I remember when I was listening to, like, say, Jay Prince's music, and his earlier work was very UK sounding, very good quality, but UK sounding. Then I think it was Late Summers, I think it was, that project, when he spent time in America, it had more of an American feel to it. So there's similarities in that with what I'm hearing with this album here from Scribz, in the sense that it just sounds American to me. It just sounds fully American. And although I often talk about how songs can, like on an album, songs can sound similar and give a nice flow, and it kind of allows you to fade into like a very relaxing mood. With this album, when I was listening to it, I just kind of thought to myself that this is all very samey. It's kind of boring as well, because it's just, I'm not hearing anything to it. There's no depth to it, if you know what makes sense. I didn't really get what the album was about. So yeah, it didn't really connect for me at all. And that's quite weird, because when someone is like from the UK, and especially from London, they're talking, I normally find it easier to connect with the music, if anything. But no, that wasn't the case for me with this album. So I'm not really sure what he's done wrong, because I'm not going to say that the songs are shit. They weren't shit. The sound was all right, but it just wasn't really there for me. So yeah, it's a bit of a negative review on my part, but I'm sure that he will come back with something better in the future, because there's definitely a talent there. Sonically, the album was alright.
Just to give a bit of context about him as well, he's been a writer on like Khalid's album. He won his Grammys for the track "Ring." I
like that one with Cardi
Invasion. Yeah, he was a producer for that one. He's also been, I think, a producer on Jay Huss's album too. And he's worked with the likes of her.
Black's on his album as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he is.
Black. Yeah. So the fact that he's even got him is that's a big. Black's a big artist, so yeah, that's even something in itself.
Yeah, because he works with big artists all the time. He's signed to Sony as well. So yeah,
So if he is actually spending a lot of time out there with them in the studio, then it makes sense for his sound to be like that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's begging it. I'm saying that
he's influenced by surroundings.
You know what? I was about to say that, because this is a big debate. Like, songwriters, back of house people tend to have. It's like, they tend to give their best work to other people. Do you know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense that his project would feel, thinking about what you said, and it felt like that for me as well. Like, a song would start and I would expect to like it, but then it just didn't feel right. It felt like an unfinished work, like it was just a rough thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because he isn't putting the effort into his own work that he needs to be. Do you know what I mean?
It's possible. It's possible. There's a variety of reasons why it could be like this, but like I said, I don't think the album was poor. I just think it was a case of it didn't connect for me, and like, you know, it's a simple way of looking at it. If you were to compare his album to someone else's, say, I don't know, even like say Jay Prince's one, his last one, it's not to the same quality in my opinion. But I guess that's the thing with music. Everyone's opinion on things is different. Like, Ollie really enjoyed this album, and so did Manny. So
I couldn't tell if he was from America or here either.
Yeah, that's why I said I felt like there was a bit of an identity crisis.
It's not an identity crisis. If he's splitting his time between two places, then it makes sense that his sound is the way it is.
Yeah. But I didn't know that until after Manny said it.
I mean, it's not usually... I mean, do we ever think of that and go, is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's just somehow it's not suiting the sound that he's trying to create. Because for some artists, that would work.
I guess so. That's the true, a fair point.
I think, from my opinion, like, he's a producer, right? And I think as a producer, you're meant to be like a sponge, absorbing cultural sounds and having that ability to cater for new artists. Like, you can tell he's a bit of a sponge in the sense that it's influenced by many successful artists. You can get different flavors that remind you of different artists when you listen to this album. But as Ollie said, perhaps there's an identity crisis where he needs to find his own voice, his own style, and maybe because of the amount of time he's spent working with these other artists, he hasn't actually had the time to do so. But I think he's very talented, and I'm excited to see what he does in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would look forward to hearing another project from him, and I'll probably actually go back and listen to some of his older stuff as well.
So,
but
what did you
just
rate
this one ain't
it
it for me. For me, it's just 3 years.
Yeah,
3
as well. Yeah.
4 for me.
Oh my god! All right.
I don't understand how you feel that's a 3, but you spoke so highly of it.
Because I also felt there's a lot of development that he needs to do on himself. So I really enjoyed it. No, but seriously,
but Ollie, he was catering to you.
He was, and it was good. It was good, but it wasn't excellent, and it wasn't like a masterpiece. So, like, following our ratings and what each number means, it was a really good album,
So
but it wasn't
hold on.
excellent.
So we're about to talk about Abs, and you're telling me that you preferred this one.
Spoiler alert: I didn't like Abra Cadabra.
What?
With that being said, let's get the ratings in. Ollie, you said 3, Manny, you said what?
It's a 3.
Okay, cool.
I gave it.
What were your standout songs, guys?
East Side.
East Side.
I lied.
Anyone else?
Honestly, all the songs sounded the same to me, so I don't actually have a standout song, so whatever you guys say. I'm not being bad, man. They just all sounded the same.
Let's go for East
I have
Side.
no idea what they were about.
Because Ollie liked this artist the most.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Afia.
Okay, cool. So let's move
Team
on
player
to
Afia.
Right. Okay. So Abs.
Yeah. I liked it, and I'll tell you what, right? So in one of my WhatsApp group chats,
That laugh is bare evil. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyway, and they're all saying how they didn't like the sound of the album. This is before I listened to it, and again, I always say I don't like to have my view coloured before I actually have a chance to, consume the music myself. But they all say they don't really like it, and he sounds too much like Pop Smoke, and it's not what they expect from him, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, this is going to be an interesting review. So I listened to that album, and my first thought was, yeah, this sounds just like a reborn Pop Smoke, and like that's obviously not a good thing. So that was the first track of me thinking that as well. So I was thinking to myself, okay, if it's going to carry on like this, I'm not going to enjoy this at all. I carried on listening, and it did improve. It definitely improved, and I feel like he found his sound. Maybe he was experimenting with that first track and trying to see how that came across to his audience. But I'm glad that is something that he didn't stick with, because if he did, I just wouldn't have enjoyed the album going through it. There are a couple of really standout tracks on the album. I really enjoyed How We Living, On Deck, Spin This Coupe, Seen It All. It was a great track as well. And was that it? Yeah, I think that's it. It's like after the first track, all the other songs are at least good. But the standout ones are the ones that I mentioned, with the best one being Seen It All. And that's mainly because of the fact that Scribz has a crazy verse on that. Like, Scribz definitely one of the best rappers in the UK. But yeah, it's a solid project. It's his debut album. Almost. It's not. He's labeling it as his mixtape, but you know my view is on mixtapes and albums already. This is basically an album. But yeah, it's a solid effort, in my opinion.
So I was the one who said to you, Matt, that I got like a lot of Pop Smoke vibes. And I just wasn't.
But I heard it from other people before you said it as well, though.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't feeling that. I feel like that kind of tainted my album. I mean, not my album, my view of it, because the tracks that I expected from him, he delivered like a decent track. It was just a bit of a mixed bag. Like, it wasn't as mixed as DJ Scheme, but the tracks I disliked, I really disliked. And it really put like a nasty taste in my mouth, or my ears even. Let me start again. The tracks that I disliked, I really disliked, and it really put like a negative thought of the album in my mind.
I want to know what nasty taste you was tasting.
No,
I want to know.
No, you know, like when you just say nasty taste. You know, like when you say nasty taste. Nothing, bro.
What did you have in your mouth?
Oh, okay, fine, whatever. But the tracks that were good, were actually really good, and he actually had some really good lyrics. So that's why I say it's a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like if the album was a bit more focused, I'd like it more. But it wasn't my most hated album of the week. It was probably like second in line to Scribz. But I wasn't feeling it as much as you guys. And my standout track was Seen It All, because Scribz bodied that.
So what did you mean by focus, though?
Like, I didn't like the tracks that felt like they had like a drill influence, or the Pop Smoke ones. And I saw someone saying that Pop Smoke's style was influenced by the UK, right?
Mm.
So Abra Cadabra.
Like the whole drill sound, so absolutely.
So I keep calling him Abra Cadabra, but Abra Cadabra, like my local kebab shop's called that, innit? So anyway, but so Abra Cadabra doing that kind of brings it full circle. I understand that, but I swear the track where he does like the Pop Smoke growl as well. I don't know who was the first to do that, but it was like I don't know. Just like
I don't know.
Yeah,
He was biting hard. So that's all I can say.
I really wasn't feeling those sort of tracks.
Let me just play devil's advocate. Let's say he's biting Pop Smoke hard. Has he made it his own?
Nah. So he can bite him and make it his own, and that would be cool.
People can do that. They can take someone else's stuff and make it sound like, fresh.
Yeah, people do that all the time. Game does that amazingly. Game is the best at doing that. You can come close to the game. That's
Join us.
The game. Ollie loves the game.
That's a long conversation though. But yeah,
look, I'm gonna dismantle you, Ollie.
But no, I'm finished. Like, the tracks that were good, but the tracks that I didn't like, I felt were so bad they really brought down the album. And the thing is, I'm looking at the track list now, and I can't even remember what the tracks were called.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, Manny, I think you might have more to say than me, because I really enjoyed it, but I reckon maybe you have more to say. So can I go before you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thanks. So I am also a product of Tottenham. This project, I absolutely loved it. The first track, okay, it was a little bit slow, whatever, but after that, it was just consistent bangers. It was brilliant. I listened to this today maybe like 5 times from beginning to end because I enjoyed it that much. And when I was just running errands and doing general stuff today, I kept coming back to listen to On Deck. And that's actually my standout tune of all the tunes on here, because even though there were so many great ones, it's just a bop. It's just so fun. There's something on here for everybody. Some of them are just like club bangers. Some of them are just, I don't know, nostalgic feeling drill tunes. I love it all. And How We Living really reminded me of North London as well. Like, this is going to sound maybe a little bit daft, but it made me think of West Green Road. The whole vibe of it. Like, people out there listening to this, right, who remember when the Costa Coffee outside Seven Sisters Station used to be the old school record store, will understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this project, and I don't know how Ali did not enjoy this project.
Is it possible, because you're from Tottenham and there's like a lot of things he says that you can relate to, make you feel more love towards the album?
I don't think so, because
I'm not from Tottenham. I love it.
In fact, what he was talking about when he talked about being a product of his environment, more political, as opposed to things that he was talking about, issues in the area that he growing up there, he's seen. Do you know what I mean? It's a very deprived area. I love Tottenham, but the deprivation there is so serious, and the kids grow up there. Sometimes it can be kind of sad, and I feel like that's what he was talking about. So I feel like he was talking about some very serious issues in that area that I can understand, and that came across, like, that hit me very much with his album art. I don't know if you guys noticed, he had a little label on his ankle that says Tottenham.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And he's sitting on top of what looks like Broadwater Farm to me. I'm not too sure. That's what I guess. Which is an incredibly deprived part of North London. So, like, yeah. But overall, I thought there was bangers on bangers on bangers. Yeah.
I feel like I hear what you're saying, and I agree to an extent. I think a bit more than I did, but I feel like he did manage to share his story pretty well throughout the project. So the album title, the project title, mixtape title, whatever you want to call it, Product of My Environment, I felt it. I thought he explained it throughout the project.
Can we talk about that bar he had about not sending dick pics, please?
That's on Deck, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that tune.
Yeah, that was a good track. That was a good track.
I love that bar. It's so true. Stop sending pictures, people. Meet people in real life, man.
2016 rolls around. There's a tune that takes over the clubs, Robbery by Abra Cadabra. It's an absolute banger. You heard it everywhere. You heard remixes from each area. You had, I think, what's probably the most popular remix, featuring Krept and Conan. And since then, like, I think he's released an EP, he's done a couple freestyles, but he hasn't ascended to, let's say, that A class of new artists, right? What he's done with this album shows how versatile, how talented, and gives strong reason for why he needs to be counted in that class. Like, I feel like he's taken his time to learn, study the game, and produce what I feel is probably his classic. I'm hoping like he continues in the same vein.
You're saying this project is a classic.
I feel like for him, this is his classic. This is his, as it stands. This is like a really good debut.
I 100% agree with that.
Thank you.
100%.
Yeah, this is a strong debut. Like, I saw versatility on this album. I saw introspection on this album. I had party anthems on this album. Like, it ticked all of the
Storytelling,
boxes. Storytelling, like you name it, he got it.
club
Again,
bangers,
club bangers, he got it. It's on deck, jiggy jiggy. Like it's
GG.
there. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I understand where people come from with the Pop Smoke comparisons. However, he's got a deep, gruff voice. Pop Smoke had a deep, gruff voice. Um, Pop Smoke borrowed elements of UK drill, so I don't see why it's a problem for Abra Cadabra to do the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's artists influencing artists, still sharpening still, and he doesn't rely on that flow throughout the album. Um, he shows his versatility, as I mentioned earlier, on this album. So, for me personally, my standout track on this album is probably On Deck. Yeah, I'm gonna give it On Deck. But I really liked Flicky. Flicky.
Yeah.
And Stringless Keith as well is really banging.
So, sorry, what was you gonna say?
No, that's it. Go on, mate.
Oh, so yeah, I feel the point you made about inspiration from people. My issue is when you sound exactly the same.
But that's
my issue.
He's got a deep, gruff voice, and so does Pop Smoke. Like, and obviously it's not exactly the same. Like, it's different. You get me?
No, but he even had the little growl that Pop Smoke does. Didn't do like the growl, the ad libs that Pop Smoke done. It would be like. Anyway, that's like a different. That's
I'm
a different
not gonna
topic.
speak for like Abra, but I think it's negative for him to pay homage to Pop Smoke, especially after his passing. Do you know
if that's what he's doing, that's fine. But that's the way to try and like get himself more commercially known, because obviously Pop Smoke was a like commercially acclaimed rapper. Like everyone liked him. Everyone liked his music. So like part of it is like a smart play to sales and get more exposure. I could be entirely wrong.
Is that wrong though?
I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know. I need to listen to this album again.
Yeah, listen to it again. Look, the biggest single on this album is On Deck. That's the thing that set I think provided the energy to produce this album. It's the one that's got the most views and the most listens, right? And he sounds nothing like Pop Smoke on that On Deck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's only a couple of songs where he does, and that's where I have issues. But you know what? I'm gonna listen to this album again because I feel like my view is wildly different. When it seems like I should be agreeing with what you guys are saying, like normally I would.
No, you're entitled to your opinion on it. I think what it is like you don't like Afro beats like a lot.
You don't like drill either.
Yeah, I liked it. It had elements of drill in it. I liked it.
Yeah, I didn't like that, and I'm not gonna comment on some other stuff, but I'm gonna listen to it again. I'm actually gonna listen to it again.
I'm not gonna comment that you don't like Afro beats.
I really enjoyed the drill sounds. I did.
I'm not the biggest fan of Afrobeats, no, but I don't see why that has any weight in this project.
Because there's an infusion of that sort of sound in this project.
I'm not a huge fan of Afrobeats either. Like, I like some Afrobeats. I'm not like a huge fan. So I just want to say that. I understand.
Thank you, Afia.
She's with you, Ollie. She's with you.
Yeah, team player Afia. Big in the business.
Straight.
I'm not going to rate this because I feel like I need to listen again. Like sometimes I don't feel like I do. I do feel like I need to listen to it again because now I feel like in the beat here, so I need to listen again.
Stand on your 10 toes, blood.
Yeah.
I'm on there. No, I'm tiptoeing away.
That's 3 for me.
Oh, that's what I was going to give it anyway.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's classic. Manny thinks it's a classic. I don't think it's a classic.
Like, I was going to give it a 3, but I felt like everyone here was going to give it a 4 or something. So I was like,
I don't think it's that good. It's a nice project, but like a
It's
4
a
was
straight up 4 for me, baby.
I'm gonna give it a
That
4 as well. Yeah.
This is hard.
It's a 4 for you, I think you said, yeah?
It's not like a high 4, it's a mid 4, but it's still a 4.
This is a high
Okay.
4 for me. It's super high. I should have given
Well,
it
man,
a
you could definitely feel that you're hard for this album in general.
It's gonna be his you know, the thing he talks about in 10 years, 20 years from now still. Do you know what I mean?
do you think it's his boy in the corner?
Yeah. Well,
I can't see it.
wait. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I think this guy has more to come, like potential. I can't speak. Potential, like.
Saying that someone has more to come is fine, but that doesn't mean that this project here is that. You know what I mean? We're not rating the
No, but at the same time, I
project.
still think this was worth a 4.
Okay.
Jiggy on deck.
Jiggy on deck, exactly.
So we've all got our ratings then, okay. So, what's it, Afia? I think there's another song that you wanted to talk to us about.
Okay, so give me like a second to look for this tune again.
She's gonna get her file of facts out.
No.
The big old man is coming back out. Yeah.
This week I wanted to review a country. Well, I think it's an alternative country tune. I like country music, and it's called A Single Called Grace by Nate Adamson, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a super cute song.
The only country song I know is Old Town Road, so is it like that?
No. There's another country song everyone knows, that Take Me Home. That song. Everyone knows that song.
When I was a kid, my mum used to have Dolly Parton albums around the house and people like that. And I'm trying to think of the other people I used to listen to. You know, like, you've got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em.
I know that song.
Oh, Kenny Rogers, I think that is. So, yeah, I do like a little bit of country music. And I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great tune. I enjoyed the story.
That's country music like you. Ignore it.
Country music was actually pioneered by Black people. So,
you can't say that, that's taboo.
So it was punk music.
I asked you, does country music like you? And I thought there's only one answer here. But anyway, carry on with the review, so I don't want to keep interrupting.
Exactly, thank you. Anyway, all that stuff aside, I thought it was a great single. So that's Nate Adamson, and it's called A Single Called Grace. I recommend it to anyone who does listen to country music. It's a very sweet love story. It's a little bit angsty. There's some great guitar going on. And that's about it, yeah. That's it. That's all I've got to say. I'll give it a 2.
Cool.
No, wait. Sorry. I give it a 3. 3.
Cool. I actually did listen to this song as well. Country music isn't for me, so I didn't particularly like it. But it did sound like there was a good quality to the song anyway. It didn't sound like a cheaply made sort of song, if that makes sense. So I'm sure he's in the right lane, the right direction. Just like that sort of music isn't for me particularly.
I'm going to echo what Matt says as well.
Cool. Let's take in some news. Let's digest some news from the past few days. One bit of news, I guess it's a bit old now, but it did come up like late last week, was Ivorian Doll having a go at a manager. Not a manager, sorry, but it seems like an ex-business partner or ex-manager who's seemingly got control of her name and is holding it ransom, like a station name, Ivorian Doll. He owns the name. And he won't give it back to her. So apparently it's making her struggle or giving her issues when she's trying to get signed, because essentially she doesn't own her own brand. Did you guys hear about this?
She's a British artist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did see the video, and I'm not familiar with her music, if I'm being honest. I have heard of her. A lot of people in the comments, from what I saw, were saying it's really important you read your contract. Artists should know better by now. But I think the thing people forget is that artists are not always experienced in the industry when they come into it, and it's a very easy industry to be manipulated in. So especially if you're a young artist, and it's very easy to say, well, you need to know better and get lawyers involved and read the contract and this and that, but it's not as simple as that in every situation. I'd like to hear more about exactly what happened.
I would jump in there and also say, you know what, it might not even be a contract issue. Like, she might not have actually signed a contract with him that said, I own your name. He could have simply gone and trademarked it, or whatever sort of, it's a trademark for this thing, it's a name, right? So you could have just gone that without her knowledge, and you can't do that. It'd be for her to go to court and like prove that he shouldn't have the naming rights for whatever. But
has she said what the exact issue is? Has she clarified? Do we know?
I can't remember if she did clarify, like, if she signed the contract or not, which gave him the name. But this sort of happened with Section Boys, where their manager took the name when they sacked him, so they had to change the name to Smoke Boys. And it happens in other areas. I'm pretty sure I've heard of other people saying that someone else just registered their name and literally just won't give it back to them. So it happens. It's an important thing for people to take note of, because what makes you money in this game, in the music industry, is your intellectual property. You could be a great singer, a great songwriter, whatever, but if someone's going to take your work, take your brand and monetize it for themselves, then you're not making that money. So it's so important that you keep a grip, keep a handle of what's yours, and make sure that you enforce any sort of ownership rights that you have over it, where possible. So that was one bit of news that I wanted to discuss. Another bit is Tiana Taylor. She has announced that she is retiring from the game.
Can we, I'm sorry, can I just say something before we continue? I just wanted to
clarify. You cannot.
I just wanted to clarify that Ivorian Doll's name has been trademarked by Locked In Music. So yeah, it's trademarked.
Not in music, so outside of that, right?
It's trademarked. Okay, I'm going to read this. According to legal notices found by Will Pritchard, Ivorian Doll's name has indeed been trademarked by Locked In Music. Oliver Ashley previously owned and controlled London station Radar Radio. It collapsed in 2018, and that is from clashmusic.com.
Okay, cool. So that's correct. So, like I said, you have to own your trademarks, and you've got to trademark things early. But you know what it is? Sometimes people just think to themselves, okay, I've got my name, I'm going to just use it. And you have these unscrupulous people that will come in and just take what they can if they notice that you're slipping somewhere. And that's seemingly what happened with her. It's a shame, but it does happen. But yeah, like I said, next topic is Tiana Taylor. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I thought this was quite sad, if I'm being honest. I feel like Tiana Taylor's had a lot of recognition in the industry for being extremely talented. However, she hasn't had the best of luck with her labels.
I agree with that as well.
They've never made her like a priority. However, she does have a core fan base, and I think all she's ever wanted was an album that a label invests in and puts the marketing and PR behind. And now that she's married to like a basketball player, she's got children. Like, I think she might just feel like her time's up. But again, she has a fan base that like her. The game stood up and was like, "No, please don't retire." I think Cardi B even dropped a message saying like showing support as well. It's quite sad, and I hope she doesn't feel like that. I think reading into it, I think the message that she's trying to convey is that she wants to be released from a current situation, or she will quit.
Yeah,
she wants to get away from Kanye.
Don't know about that one, Chief. But what I will say is that I'm a massive Tiana Taylor fan, and her album with Kanye, Keep the Same Energy caught a lot of backlash, and rightfully so. I can understand why, considering how much she altered her original vision. But I still thought that was a solid album. Her follow-up album was...
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Her follow-up album was immensely better, and I thought that was incredible. And I like her music. I like her craft. I think she's really talented. So I hope she doesn't quit and she still continues to make music. But I feel like now she could maybe try and go independent if she can get released from her label. I don't want to see her stop making music, basically.
Afia?
She's I can't say I know much about her music. It's not really my cup of tea when I do listen to it. You know, every once in a while I'll go have a little listen, because I do think she doesn't get the backing that she deserves. She is very, very creative, and I don't know, what is it about Teyana Taylor? I just feel like even though she has a core audience, I don't think she's marketable in a way. I don't know why, but she just doesn't seem like...
Is it because she kind of goes against the grain of what you'd expect from an artist?
No. It's not that. It's like when she does her interviews, I'd say I've seen her do some interviews on The Breakfast Club, for example. I don't think she helps herself sometimes, you know, because she comes across a little bit... It's like she pushes herself out there too much, you know, to sort of overcompensate for what they're not doing. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make any sense to you, does it?
No, I'm listening to what you say. Carry on.
Listening.
Well, I don't know. I find that when she does put herself out there, she doesn't exactly manage her image very well. And it's not because I have any set standard of expectation. It's just she comes across a bit meh, you know. Her work as well, it comes across a little bit meh to me. I mean, when I do listen to, I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know what to think of her. Maybe that's the issue.
Let me jump in here now. So my view on Teyana Taylor is this, right? I feel like when she was signed originally by Pharrell towards Star Trek, they found a girl that could sing and was pretty. And I think that their intention was to model her how they wanted to model her. So if you think of someone like Rihanna, right? Rihanna came through at a young age under like Def Jam with Jay-Z. And although she kind of came through it with the sort of image as a Caribbean princess sort of thing, her styling and her image was really managed heavily by her label. So you saw it change from being this Caribbean princess to being something more... I feel like, I don't know if that's even the right word, because of the fact that no one had an issue with her being a Caribbean princess, but they made her be exactly what you'd expect from a young female artist, right? And I'm not going to say that Rihanna didn't reject it, but she seemed to be okay with it. And of course, Rihanna is like one of the biggest female artists in the world now, so it worked out perfectly fine. And I feel like with Teyana Taylor, I think that there was a similar plan for her to an extent. I don't think that these labels understood about Teyana is that she is a very fierce and right creator. She wants to do things in the way that she wants to do it. And when they signed her, they didn't understand that. I think they thought they could just sign her, almost do a pink, and just basically just like make her what they want her to be. So when she was making her music, there must have been loads of conflicts in the studio when this was taking place, and eventually the albums just wouldn't come out. So she left Pharrell's label and she went to Kanye West. She probably thought Kanye is like a big creative himself. He will understand my thought processes and what I want to get out of this whole situation. And that didn't happen because the same thing happened again. They tried to give her a sound that she didn't want. So with that album, Keep the Same Energy, Kanye literally removed artists who she would have featured on the album and added in people that she didn't want. And he chopped and changed songs from what she created. And that caused massive issues for her because that's not how she wanted her sound to be. That's not what she created. So then we get to her latest album, that album, and everyone loved it. Or everyone I spoke to loved it, at least. It's been critically acclaimed. And that is pure and unadulterated Tiana Taylor. But I get the impression that for her to get that album out, it was way more of a struggle than it should have been because she's seemingly having to fight everybody to release the product that she wants to release to her fans. Now, the thing with Tiana Taylor, when Afia said that she's not so marketable, I understood what she meant, because when you look at what Tiana Taylor does in her music videos and in some of the other stuff that she does, like some of her photo issues, she tries to make herself very masculine, and she has like sort of Grace Jones androgynous look about her, and that is not what a woman's meant to do in 2020.
No, I don't think it's that.
It's partly that though.
No, because like she forces it too much. It's like it's not.
But that's her. That's who she is. When Jaden Smith is walking around wearing pink shorts or whatever else, no one has an issue with that.
No, not her appearance. Just.
Because the thing is, to me, I just think that Tiana Taylor is such a. I always talk about when I'm talking about me, I compare it to Rihanna just now, right? that's evolved so much as an artist since she was signed. What you get with Rihanna today is completely Rihanna when she first came out, because when she first came out, she was a product of the system. Go on.
You know what it is? You know, when I use the word oversaturated, like she pushes herself out there too much. I think she through phases where she gets frustrated and she tries to grab attention. And I watched her reality show, for example. And I watched interviews that she was doing around that time as well when she was promoting it. And parts of it, I was just like, do I really want to see you and Iman have sex with, your baby half asleep next to you on the lounge or by the pool? I mean, it's stuff like that. I'm just like, work on the music, do what you need to do. It's like, I don't know. I find some of the way
so you find her sexuality a bit too much.
No, it's not her sexuality. It's like, that's your family business. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's how she's always been. That's not what I make it to you. She's very open about the fact that her and Iman Shumpert have
I don't care about you having
threesomes and whatever.
But I don't care.
That's the point. You don't care.
No, but it's like the way she's saying it is like she wants attention for it.
How many rappers come out of songs talking about how many hoes they sleep with?
It's not about listen. Don't try and tell me about feminist issues.
So what are you saying you don't want to hear then?
This is
what I'm talking to you about. Like with Beyonce, she would never come out of a song talking about. Actually, it's a lie. She did have that song about her surface because of the fact that she doesn't get the same exposure. And the point I'm trying to make.
What I'm saying is, she was going.
They tried to paint Tiana Taylor in such a way that she doesn't want to be painted. She's not interested in being what the label wants her to be. She wants to be her own person. And if she has got the opportunity to go independent, then she absolutely should, because that way she can release things that she wants to release. And it'll probably be hypersexual, it'll be all sorts of different stuff, but it'll be Tiana Taylor. And I think that some people will enjoy that.
It's not the sex stuff. It's just it's not the sex stuff. It's just the constant, like, if you want focus.
That is what she is. She loves sex.
So what? Who doesn't? Like, that's not the issue.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people do not like it the way she does. A lot of people
I'm talking about her TV show and her interviews.
Okay, but then my point is that she probably Tiana Taylor has to do that much more than other married and be having threesomes all the time. A lot of people will not do that.
You're the only person talking about her threesomes here.
But okay, you're not. But I'm saying that's what she talks about in her music. That's the sort of thing that she discusses.
But I'm not. I'm saying
about her music. I'm saying. But my point is that her record labels.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Older music that wasn't allowed to come out as much.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to agree to disagree with you on this, and we'll move on because man has some points to make.
Okay, but I believe that when she first came through, what they wanted to do with her was to make her a pop candy sort of R&B singer, and that was never her intention.
I don't think that's what they wanted to do with her at the beginning anyway, because if you watch that, what was it, her Sweet 16 birthday thing, her image and everything at the time, I don't think it fit that. She was still quite edgy for that age group.
That's what the label wanted. That's no point I'm making.
But anyway, Manny, go ahead.
Cheers. Look, Kanye did her wrong in the last album. I think she was working on that album for a while, and Kanye came in and chopped it to 7 songs, just to fit his agenda. And I don't think she had any input in what was being released. It was just released, and I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back and destroyed that relationship. As far as I'm concerned, Tiana Taylor is incredibly marketable. Like, her social media stats are on par with Meg Thee Stallion and others of her generation. So
she's got mad amount of followers.
Yeah, she's incredibly marketable. I just think, and as Matt, you've already mentioned, she's when she took control of the album, critical acclaim. I think that's what needs to change. She needs to be released from her current situation and be provided the keys to her own destiny. And that's when we'll finally see the real Tiana Taylor. That's all I've got to say.
What do you guys think of her sound? Can I just
love it.
words?
I love her sound.
I like it as well.
No, but not I like it. How would you describe it? What does it make you feel?
It's R&B. It's like
sexy
she has a
type
sweet voice.
It's R&B. It's R&B without crying because her man's leaving her. That's what it is. It's R&B telling her man that if he does leave her, she's gonna shoot him up. It's a completely different. She just flipped.
It's very personal. It's very personal R&B, and she's got a very good voice.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's just it's completely different to what other women are doing, and that's what I really appreciate.
Yes, it's not whiny R&B.
Yeah.
Realistic R&B, like how your average person would actually react, not like. You get what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, I do. But anyway, I think we spent a long time on that.
Wait, I just feel like Afia needs to have the final word.
No, not at all. I'm listening.
Are you sure? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that we all agree that the record label's fucked her over, though.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to do.
For real.
We ended that debate on a high. Let's move on.
Casanova. He's been arrested on RICO charges, and he turned himself into the FBI. Serious things, not police, FBI. Because he's been connected to a big RICO investigation related to a gang that he's associated with, connected with, whichever way you want to put it. He has ties to them.
I think it's called Untouchable Stone something.
Is it Gorilla Stone or something like that? I don't know.
Something like that. Untouchable Stone Gorillas. Something like that.
Something.
So he might be going away for a long time. He said, I like the way that, he recorded the video saying what he's doing, he's turning himself in. And, a lot of people in that situation that would go on the run, or did we have a massive breakdown? He handled it like a real G, to be honest with you.
Well, he believes he's innocent and he will be proved innocent, doesn't he? So
yeah, but you know what? We've all heard horror stories about how these sort of cases they don't go that way. You know what I mean? So it's a difficult one. But yeah, he's that's a big story for me. That's a big amount of years to be facing.
I think it's at the end of the year, that's when federal cases tend to go in for the kill. I think 6ix9ine was wrapped up around the same time. Was it last year or the year before that? I think 2 years ago.
That's true.
G Herbo got wrapped up as well for a different case. It was more based around fraud. Um, but I think Casanova's in more danger because he's already been in prison. I think there's like free strike rule. It's a conspiracy charge, so it's not directly related to him, but because he's a part of that gang, he's going to be incorporated in any sort of charges as well. So it's not looking good for him, but uh, you pray, you know what I mean? We hope it doesn't go badly for him.
Pretty much agree. I haven't done much reading on it though, so I haven't got much to add. But I do hope he doesn't get locked up for a long time. I like Casanova personally, so I hope it goes well.
There was a 15-year-old boy who was murdered. So, I mean, if he was involved somehow, it's...
Oh, this is part of the Cass case. I'm thinking, why are you mentioning this for? About wow.
No, it's part of it. There was a 15-year-old boy who was murdered.
Damn.
That's mad. That's sad as well.
It's not just drugs and
Well, drugs is never just drugs, is it? There's always going to be other things tied into drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of
does that change your view? If you didn't know that, does that change your view of the situation at all?
No, it doesn't, because like at the end of the day, you can be part of a gang. Like anyone can be part of a gang, right, and not be aware of what's even going on. And I know that Cass. I don't know Cass personally, obviously, but my understanding is someone that he come from a sour background. So to believe that he was involved in something serious is not too difficult. But at the same time, would he be the trigger man when he's a recording artist? It's unlikely. And I don't know what sort of like status he holds in that gang either to say if he's the guy that's calling the shots. I don't know. But anyway, it's a bit mad if he does go down. But the details of the case will come to light, and then we can form our judgment then, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's innocent, let us hope he has a speedy trial and he's home soon.
Yep. More stuff has come out with the Dutchavelli case. The girl has come out posting like original screenshots of the conversation that she was having with him. And to me, it makes it seem like a lot more believable that they were having innocent conversations, and the pictures that were leaked out online were doctored. However, some people are saying that the situation here is these images that the girl has released are actually doctored, and it's a case of them just trying to do the most to clear Dutch's name. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
So I had a thought about this, and when I thought, okay, this actually makes more sense. It makes the original story seem a bit bogus. But then I believe she said they both got hacked and they modified the messages and stuff, right? Like altered them. So then how can she retrospectively go back and screenshot the original messages if they've already been edited? That doesn't make sense.
I think what she did was that she went back and went through her history of her story.
Yeah,
and she could show that on this date it was this picture, and she's saying, okay, so this was the picture that he was applying to on this date.
Yeah, but then there's comments under that look different, right? So under the picture there's different comments. So there's comments that are missing in one screenshot, and then comments that are there. So if she's gone back to get the story picture, why are those comments now there and not there before? If both their accounts got hacked and both messages got deleted and erased to paint a picture.
I want to raise the point of the voice notes. Can't overlook the voice notes that he was sending, because I don't know.
That's another thing. Yeah, she could have played back the voice notes to like make them make more sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
So like bringing up the story image is one thing, but then the fact that she can't the fact she's got text there when she said since the post came live and stuff, everything's been deleted and modified. How can she then share screenshots on, say, yesterday, whatever, whenever she shared them, that has the original messages there. Like, if they've been deleted, they've been deleted.
That's an interesting point. It's an interesting point for sure.
So it wasn't until recently that I gave it some thought that I thought, something's at play here, but I don't know what to believe. I really don't know what to believe.
Also, what exactly does it tally up with what Dutch himself said in the statements when he finally addressed it? You know, because some of the stuff he was saying was a little bit strange as well. Like, it doesn't... I don't know, because there's so many moving parts to this. I don't know if there are just things not being put together to make the story more cohesive, you know. But to me, there are still a lot of unanswered questions here.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I think
Me too.
it's just a situation where, like, we have to wait and see if Dr. Velli has done these heinous acts, then it will come to light. But so far, there's nothing. Like, police have investigated, they've dismissed it. So who are we to continue to speculate? Like,
Have the police officially dismissed it?
Yeah, they did.
I don't think that's happened.
That's what that was coming from Dr. Velli. Like, of course, they're not going to come out with a report and say
Dutch said he hasn't been invested. That doesn't mean the investigation's finished. Like, they're not going to arrest someone at the beginning of an investigation when they've got nowhere to charge them on.
Also, we discussed this last week, and remember, just because they've dismissed it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just means they don't have enough proof.
I'm not saying that
what you
happen, but I'm not going to
say it has happened.
Yeah, like, this is someone's career. And
it's
a very strong allegation without
it's
evidence.
Not just his career, it's his whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just his life, it's his sister's reputation. That's a black family that could potentially suffer hard if this isn't actual reality, but just gossip.
And can we just point out that the allegations have actually taken an even more serious... Huh? Oh my God.
Sorry.
The allegations actually took an even more serious turn at one point because somebody threw some allegations about the children in his family as well. At his yard, to quote, you know, to sort of... And I thought that was... It's getting to a place where... yeah, it's all bad. Yeah. I don't know what else.
I'm going to
touch your belly.
I'm not listening to him either, but I didn't really listen to him.
No, I am.
Beforehand, so.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you are? Wow, okay.
Yeah,
well, then there you go then. Like, well, you're not really that worried about him then, are you?
No, I am. I'm waiting to hear what happens. I still like his recent work, but, like, I'm just waiting to hear what people have to say. So, you know. Like,
okay, well, anyway, I still listen to R. Kelly's music, so fuck it.
Yeah, so do I.
I don't listen to R. Kelly anymore.
And I still listen to Tory Lanez as well. They got my shooter.
So...
No, I'm not listening to R. Kelly. Like, today I was listening to Ja Rule and Ashanti, and there was one that featured R. Kelly. I can't remember.
Wonderful.
Yes, exactly. I was like, oh, no.
You love that. Anyway.
Baby. Okay, guys. Follow us on Instagram, EarSauce_. Follow us on Twitter, EarSauce_. If you want to follow me, it's your boy, Emmanuel Yates 90. On Twitter, soon we're going to be on Clubhouse, dropping some convos. We'll be sharing details of that soon. Cool. Who wants to share their deets next?
I'll go next. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Matty Lee. And you can find me on Instagram at Mr_Matty Lee. How about your boy?
Yeah, on Twitter, I'm at OC_Clark_10.
Nice. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Jonathan, do we have any? We mentioned we were going to do like a Christmas special, right?
Yeah, we've already got an album.
How you guys feeling?
We're going to do our Christmas. This is what we're going to do for the month of December, right? We're going to do our Christmas, like what, top 10 maybe? Top 10 albums or singles, whatever.
Should we do a top 3 Christmas albums?
Yeah. Let's not put a number in it. Whatever we see as our favourites, right? We're going to do that. We're also going to do a pod on this whole issue of race, colorism, or whatever in the music industry, but we're going to scope it. We need to scope it correctly. And I'm thinking the way we should scope it is probably going to be around hip hop and R&B, and I think it needs to be time framed as well, because I do think that as times change, people's views on race and so forth have changed as well. So I think we need to frame it, and once we have that framed, we'll come back and record a pod on that, and try to keep it on topic as much as possible. Anything else? Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, I'm in agreement there as well. Bit of back.
And didn't we say we're going to take a break for New Year's Eve, yeah? That's what we're saying. New Year's Eve week.
No, we're recording every week. So we're going to have at least one pod. We'll have at least one pod for each week this month and one for each week in January. That's how we go through it. Yeah, but anyway, take care of yourself and each other.
And remember, guys, social distance.
But not from our social media.
Ooh.
Your mouth when you